going? Happy New Year. Hope you had a great Christmas and everything. Yeah, as I mentioned in the group, I just want to briefly go over this, knowing when to cancel an order and when not to. So yeah, I've saved myself 3 hours this week just from cancelling orders, and as I said, I think it is more of an experience thing and just familiarising yourself with these markets, and it sort of becomes a instinct thing over time, in my opinion. But yeah, there is also a couple of reasons as to why you probably should have cancelled these orders if you had them in. So let's just go over them quickly. So here you had the euro, clear as day trade. Look at this huge bounce here, another one here, and we smashed through it. So immediately people are going to have their eyes on this level, which I completely understand. I did as well. It goes all the way back to here, November, 22nd November. But even just looking from here, you've had 1, 2, 3 very decent touches. So obviously your entry would be there, and your stop will be above the frost candle. And for me, if I was in this trade, it's just you're just looking for a quick in and out, mean reversion trade. There's no reason to be targeting all the way down here to make a new low. That just doesn't make sense, and it's unrealistic. It's nearly 9R. So yeah, that was the idea at first. We had an inside day after this huge move down, so you've also got inside day failure in play, maybe. But the main reason why I cancelled this order is because, as I said, this was going to be a mean reversion trade. But if you put your ATR on the day, we didn't have ATR as confidence. You can see this is the last low. ATR is well above it. So on this day, on the Friday the 3rd, I had it in because we did have, if I wind it back to that day, you did have ATR as a confluence. You can see it was above ATR. I had it in at that point, with a target down here, I believe, at this high. But yeah, as I said, on the day you didn't have ATR as a confluence. So even though it is an extremely good level, you've got clear last low in a frost candle. You even had a fib, I believe. Yep, just coming in past the 0.5 fib. There are so many good reasons why to take this trade, and that's what I sort of mean about just over time you get used to these things, knowing when to put it or not. Because if you just learned the strategy yesterday, you'd be smashing this. Because I remember I used to do it as well. That's such a clear level, you'd want to hit that. But as I said, I had too many losers in my first 2-3 years, and I've learned from that. So yeah, the fact we had no ATR, if you think this is a mean reversion trade, but how is it going to be mean if it's not even reached its usual daily range yet, you know? So yeah, that was the main reason it wasn't in. Another reason was because there was no clear target. Like if you hit this, where are you targeting? If you put your stop there, where are you going to target now? I know mine was on the original trade before we didn't have ATR was here. But yeah, just the fact you've not got ATR was the main reason, because it's no longer a mean reversion trade, is it? Because you've not even gone past your usual daily range yet. So yeah, that was the main reason why that was pulled. There was no ATR there. And finally, this is a lot of drift as well, drift of death. You had this huge move down and you just had no follow. You're just immediately drifting all the way back up. So yeah, that was why I pulled the order really. ATR wasn't there. If we go to the exact same day on cable, this, as I said in the group at the time, was a better trade that I was looking to take. We'll just leave it there actually. That's exactly where I pulled the order. So very similar to the euro. They're very strongly correlated, obviously. Huge support here on the daily. We've smashed down below it. We've had an inside day, but immediately you're drifting up into this level. But I did like this level because this is the last low, obviously the last little move up we had before this huge down move. But the difference of this and the euro was that we did have ATR here. You can see, if I just wind it back to this candle, I want that to be right. Yeah, there you can see we had ATR right on the level. Excuse me. I don't think we had a fib on this one. No, not really. It's like in between the 0.5 and 0.61. But yeah, this was a much better trade, idea as, you know, you had this huge level, multiple touches, and it was at ATR. So for me, it's a decent trade. The target for me at the time was, if I just put this in roughly as to where it was, stop just above the frost candle, which is well out of the way of all these lows. My target was there at the low of the range. So with these ATR mean reversion trades, if there's no clear targets and there's no clear resistance before the level's been hit, which there wasn't here, I like to basically play the level of its range, so the range of the level, sorry. So you can see this is the low end of the level, and this is the high end of the level, as in that's the last low, and it's right at, it's right in line with all these lows. You could argue that even two different levels, but to me that's just one big level. That's the high of it, that's the low of it. So yeah, my entry was at the high of the range on ATR, hoping for an inversion just back down to the low of the range, the lowest of the lows. So yeah, it was a more than acceptable 1.5R. But as I said on the day, halfway through this candle, I wrote it in a group. You can check it. 10 a.m. Monday the 6th. I wrote at like 10:30 or whenever it was. I've pulled this order now because, you know, that's a decent move, guys. The high of that candle is 491. The low of this candle is 454. So that's 35, 36 pips. That's a very decent move. So if you were to keep this order in, which I didn't, you'd have to be targeting there really. 0.73R, it's no longer valid. So, you know, you shouldn't really have that order in my opinion. But yeah, that's why it's so important to be watching price very carefully as it's getting to your order. So yeah, that was the main reason on this one, was that there was no valid R anymore. That's a very decent move in my opinion, 30 to 40 pips. And look where it's come off as well. It's come off that yellow line, which is a key weekly level here from 18th of November. It's a huge swing away. That's like the first time we encountered it as a level. And yeah, we've sort of come off it and we're immediately coming back up. So yeah, that's why I pulled that order anyway. No R available, and you sort of, unfortunately, you came off the level just before you could get to mine. So this was European Open. This was looking good at this point, 7, 8 a.m. European Open. You want to see good volume coming into the level. We just couldn't get there. And yeah, that's a decent move away. So the order was cancelled at that point. And the last one, just to show you guys, let me just get rid of all of this. The last one to show you guys, which will be a bit more complex for you because it's not, I don't think it's something that Dante's actually taught publicly. I've learned it off him through other sources other than his public ones like EFL and stuff. But yeah, let me just quickly run through it because it's just another example of cancelling an order. This is dollar yen basically. If you just look at this chart on the daily, you're in a clear range. You've just gone sideways for multiple days. So you came up here, made a low, came up and tested a high, came to the low again. You're in a clear range, right? So if you drop down to the hourly, if I wind it back to exactly when it's happened, you can think now, people who've learnt the strategy, they're automatically thinking like, right, brilliant, we're smashing out this level now. Where's my last high pre-bet? I'm going to get long. It's there. I didn't take the trade. I wouldn't have taken the trade anyway because it was like 5 a.m. For one reason, and for a second reason, you're coming back straight away. This is the first and only hour you've sort of come up above the level, and immediately you're coming back down. I don't even think there would have been a valid R, would there? Let's see if you had the frost candle there. Okay, there would have been. It would have been actually 2R, but yeah, there was no reason, in my opinion, to get long here because you're just immediately coming back into the level. There's no time and acceptance above it. But yeah, long story short, when I see this happen, so you can imagine there is a lot of people who were trying to get long here. And what happens quite a lot of the time is when you get these last high pre-breaks, which is quite a key one because it's a huge daily level. You can see how many times you've come off it. Once people have tried to get long here and they've done their arse basically, what are they going to do when price comes back up to it? They're going to get out for break even. They're going to puke their positions. So quite a lot of the time when you get a breakthrough and it ran a retest, you then get a nice reaction off of it from the other side. So I was simply just looking to get short there with the stop above the thrust, and I won't go into the target because that's something personal. But yeah, why did I cancel this order? If you see, yeah, perfect. So we've now had 1, 2, 3, 4 hours of chop just before my level. So this is now a clear FTA. That's one reason. You don't really want to be seeing a level form like this just before your level. I'm sure a lot of you know about this. So yeah, that was one reason as to why I didn't really want to get short anymore. You can see these wicks, especially this one. You've come off it here, you come all the way down here, and you've closed back up here again. So yeah, it's just a very clear FTA. You're going to get stuck if you get triggered. It's probably just going to bounce off of there and then go to your stop. That was one reason, but the main reason was because it was 3 p.m. on Tuesday, and at that time we had RSM services and Jolt's jobs data. Two very, very key data points, especially with how it is with the US at the moment. Are they going to keep rates on hold for longer? Are they going to even start raising them again? So yeah, those two data points were very, very important. So there's just no way you should be having an order in with price that close to it. So yeah, just two very clear reasons why I didn't want it anymore, basically. So again, order was pulled, bang, stop would have been fucked, would have been down, not at all. But yeah, just understand, guys, this is through experience. So I used to do these things. So I know that 2 or 3 of you messaged me about the Euro trade, and I completely understood why you took it. And I hope now you can understand why I didn't. It's just you just get familiar with it over time. And it's only really time on the screen and experience that can give you that, in my opinion. You make these mistakes, you learn from them. So yeah, I like to think I've done that over the years. And to be fair, it's been a very quiet week anyway. I've only had one trade, which was a 0.3R lose in silver. But 0.3R down is better than being 3.3R down, So yeah, just knowing when to cancel these orders is so important. And the quicker you learn when to cancel them and how is very important, in my opinion. But yeah, I won't babble on for too long. I hope you all understood what I meant. Any questions, drop me a message. I'm always free to have a chat with anyone, as you know. And yeah, hope you all learned something and have a good rest of the week. Cheers, guys.